what made you decide to take the training?
Okay, so I originally found the Buteyko method online, and I had been practicing what I could find, the different elements of it online, practicing it for about a year. And I realized maybe that the way I was doing it either wasn't, the most effective way, or just that it wasn't, kind of helping me as much as I wanted it to. And so I decided to go ahead and start the one-on-ones.
So what were you seeking help with? What were you struggling with health-wise?
Okay, so a lot of my symptoms are digestive. And so probably since my 20s, I've had kind of rough periods of time with my digestion, and tried like pretty much everything I could think of to get well, and just not making the progress that I wanted to make at that point in time. So yeah, I had lots of random symptoms too that you wouldn't necessarily think are connected to digestion, but that was kind of my main issue.
So you were practicing or trying to learn the method on your own, and then you sought out the program. Tell us about your experience with Fred and the program.
Okay, yeah, so I started working with Fred immediately. We realized that I was measuring my controlled pause incorrectly. So I thought my control pause was like a 3. Him and Sasha were both like, I don't know, you would be pretty close to not alive if your control pause was 3. And so he taught me how to measure it. And I was basing that measurement before off of a book I had bought on the Buteyko method. But just trying to read it and trying to understand what they're telling you is really hard. If you have a coach or somebody sitting there with you, watching what you're doing and like helping you like get the hang of it, so much easier. So I think that's where I went off track to begin with, is just in trying to measure my control pause, and then thinking it was that low was really frustrating to me too, because I thought my health must be really terrible. And so to find out that I was not quite that low was really exciting in the early stages of my one-on-one visits with Fred.
So what improvements in your health did you experience after the training?
Okay, so I noticed as my control pause was increasing that my symptoms were getting less and less. And one of my more annoying symptoms was, it's kind of gross, but sweating a lot when I would get stressed out. And I just noticed that week by week, it was getting less and less. The higher my control pause got, the less of that symptom I had. And there was another one, had kind of that chronic, what was it called? Like a post-nasal drip or something. And I think that would increase too when I was really feeling stress. And that has really pretty much gone away, and the sweating is really a lot less. And I'm measuring my control pauses around 30 to 35 right now. So I would imagine as it continues to go up that I'll see even more improvements, but those are some of the major ones that I really have noticed.
How was your energy levels before and after, and how can you speak at all about your exercising and what you were doing, how that looks?
Yeah, so before I started doing the one-on-ones with Fred, I wasn't exercising at all, and I have a sedentary job. So I was really getting no physical activity in at all. And so my energy wasn't the lowest it's ever been when I started, but it still was not great. And then after I started practicing some of the exercises and actually doing physical activity, I think when I started doing physical activity is when I started to really notice my energy better. And especially at work, I would feel really tired at the end of the day and just really, kind of barely making it, so to speak, to the end. And so after, a few weeks of the physical activity, the exercises he was having me do, I noticed that was much easier to get through my day. So I was putting out more energy by exercising, but I was actually maintaining energy better throughout the day.
Fantastic. So what would be your biggest takeaway through this whole entire process? I know you had spoke a little bit on how you tried to learn the method by yourself and then had a completely different experience with Fred. So what's your biggest takeaway?
So my takeaway is that the method works. And so if you're practicing it and it doesn't feel like it's helping you, that the one-on-ones can really help you get the progress that you're trying to get. So that it's a really valuable thing to just have somebody sitting across from you, watching what you're doing, and then even checking in with you daily and things like that that he did with me, that they do in the coaching, I think is important too, because it helps to maintain your motivation to do the exercises and practice it. And so there's some accountability in there that I think is a good, part of the process and part of that takeaway. And then I feel like because of that, I have been able to maintain doing my exercises every day, and it's just part of my routine now. So, but if I didn't have that, I may not have, worked it into my schedule the way that I have. So
the $1 million question is, would you recommend this program to other people?
okay. Yes, I would definitely. There is a lot of information out there about breathing, and just knowing the little nuances and how to start and how to get your body ready to advance, I think is part of the difficulty in being successful. And so knowing like where to start and when to, to kind of, or just basically how to progress, that you have to start somewhere and not jumping in on, maybe the hardest breathing technique you could find, and not even realizing that. So I think, yes, it's definitely something that I would recommend to anyone looking to improve their health and improve their breathing.